What are we losing out as the economy? Because it's since Tuesday when actually all the traders shut down the shops, and business has actually been quite so halted, and not only on the side of the traders but also the other sectors who are where the traders actually spend the money at. For example, the transport sector quite very devastating. And what does this mean to our economy? Because it's understandable they need to grieve about the injustices in the taxation system, but also remember on their side they have livelihood to meet, they have bills to clear, they have school fees to pay. So how do they really catch up on that dilemma? But of course, today the president is set to meet the traders to see how these matters can be addressed, whether some of these taxes will actually there will be a waiver, some sorts of waiver of some subsidies added on to the local traders that way. Now, of course, for that reason, today I'm joined with Mr. Ambrose. He is actually he's the CEO, that is Ambrosili Consultant. It's a consultancy firm, and he's an economist, in other words, well versed with these matters. Ambrose, it's a pleasure to have you. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm also happy to be here.
Very, very great.
Yes.
Yeah. This whole scenario that is happening, I call it an economic mess, because these are people that contribute almost 60% of the GDP, and 43 actually coming in from Chukwu in particular. So from the economic perspective, when you really review this, looking at the taxation, the IFRIs and all this, don't you think it's traders, it's not I feel like it's not about traders being ignorant about the IFRIs, but addressing it from the side that the IFRIs itself, within itself as a system, has its own weaknesses, of course, pointing out the issue of double taxation.
Thank you so much, my friend, and the viewers. Ugandans who are watching us, I'm very glad to be here. First of all, business people are very bitter. Yeah. They are very bitter of what is going on in this country, particularly regarding taxation.
Taxation, yeah.
They are not happy at all. And even most Ugandans in their country, they are not happy Ugandans. Why? Because of these unfair, unjustifiable taxes. Exactly. There is a lot of panic. I don't know whether you have realized that. They are meeting president today. They don't know what the president is likely to say, whether he will maintain the status quo, whether he will change. So the traders, there is a lot of panic in town. Today you find this the third day or fourth day?
They started actually, some started on Monday, but the official day was Tuesday. Now this is the third day.
The third day, business is still closed. That one you cannot take it for granted. When you go to town, you can feel like it is like a slum. Kampala looks like, those who have not come to town, you can be shocked. So business people are very bitter over an affair and unjust taxes, and it is not about the IFRIs.
It's not about the IFRIs.
No, the problem is bigger.
You're right. Actually, it's bigger than the IFRIs.
Yes. So Ugandans need to understand that the process of tax takes a process. To tell someone that you are supposed to tax this phone, you have to first of all sensitize the person. Most of the people in the town, they are ignorant about these taxes. They don't know why, for example, they are paying those taxes. And two, they feel there is an unjustifiable cause of increase of tax. Apart from the IFRIs, there is this introduced tax on rentals. Business owners. When you look at the strike that is going on, even the landlords, they are part of the strike. They have commanded their people to lock the building. So you find the whole of a building is locked. Whether you as a trader, you feel like you should go inside and snitch something, you find the place is locked. So it is a bigger problem than we thought. So as in economics, these taxes, they are unfair, they are discriminatory. In fact, the government should avoid such taxes to the people.
I have something here. There is a dilemma here. As a person, you have day-to-day activities that you have to meet.
Yes.
So remember, if you're not working, that means you don't have income on you, which affects your purchasing power. So do you think really it could be a right cause if it's prolonged for a longer time, in case what they are striking against, they have not gotten anything out of it? Because is shutting down really the right option, considering the possible economic implications?
Now, if you are a business person, you find you are introduced a new tax, and which is heavier, because to me, I even feel the 18% of the tax they are introducing is too much. The government should, if at all it want to add, it should reduce that tax to almost like 3%.
To about 15.
Because they are increasing a tax, they are introducing a tax on already tax. There's already tax.
Yeah.
So you are adding another tax, which first of all it is new. Second, it is not justifiable. If I may ask the viewers or the government people or URA people or any other person, what is the name of that tax? People are speaking about. Even the name of the tax is not yet on board. We don't know what the name of that tax you are bringing. Yeah. Everyone is on panic. They build business owners, they build the real estate people, because government has come up with new taxes, even proposed ones, which are not justifiable.
Yes.
So we feel like this tax you are introducing as government, don't put it at 18%. It can go to even 2%. You introduce a tax at a lower level, then you can increase later when people have already understood why they are paying for that.
But of course, they are doing this because we know we've been having issues with funds from the different Bretton Woods institutions.
Yes.
And the only option is to raise the money from within.
But you are killing business. You are not in fact raising the business.
It can be.
You are killing.
It's like sacrifice.
You are sacrificing the younger businesses. They are going to collapse. And again, where will you get the tax now? I
think the issue would be how are you utilizing the taxes? But the issue
is
before
even utilization.
Yes.
That is very, very important. I will talk about how the taxes can be utilized properly. That is another matter. But even before question, how are you utilizing the taxes? For example, most governments, China, you find their own companies. They are industrializing their countries through creating companies. Find the government of China has companies it is supporting. What is the government of Uganda doing with the tax people are paying after collecting that tax?
Administrative costs.
Administrative costs. Do you own even a single company as a government that a government of Uganda has 2-3 companies? They normally fund their companies. Most countries that have developed, for example, you look at Malaysia. You know Singapore?
Yes, Singapore.
Malaysia, they have developed basically through industrialization. You cannot collect people's taxes, then again, you don't give the production, the real value of the tax. So we encourage the government, before even we go to what the tax doing, government should be innovative enough. Suppose these people shut down forever. Of course, they are going to open back. Suppose they happen. Okay. Do we have like alternatives as a government? So the government should not be like tax collection minus investment options and so forth. There should be companies owned by government of Uganda to reinvest and invest maybe some of the portion of taxes. We cannot rely on donations all the time.
So can we say that the move of privatization back when the NRM government just came to power, because it was a global wave anyway, was the wrong choice for Uganda, and it's the one that is leading to this?
No, privatization is okay. Some countries like America, they are under that. But the government should know that privatization is important, and they own also some sectors. They don't have a company, they don't have any industry. They bring Chinese here, who are even private people, to run this industry. Let them own the what? The industries as government. Let the people know that this country belongs to them. Most Ugandans are very sad. You may collect tax on a gunpoint. But Ugandans are very sad, most of them. They are sad. They are not. When you ask Ugandans very comfortably, and they know you are not maybe even a spy of government, they will speak their mind.
Okay.
So the government should know that this is something that Ugandans should know. We love the country. These traders love their country, but they should be heard. And they know that you are supposed to pay tax.
To pay tax, yes.
But this a discriminatory tax, it is not good. It is going to kill businesses, and even we have shocks of COVID now. These are symptoms of COVID, the effects. Even people, Uganda, most of these businesses, they are running on loans.
Absolutely.
They will open in case the president doesn't give them positive response. But they are opening on because they are suffering, they are on loans. They are not opening because they are comfortable accepting what is going on. So the government should know that their people are not happy. That is one. Two, if there is a new tax, let the tax be tax people first, sensitize the community. Do you know the motto of URA? Developing Uganda together.
Together.
Let the people understand that they are developing Uganda together. So my proposal, the government should scrap off this tax they are proposing immediately. In fact, these people of Kubu, they are demonstrating, they have not told them to pay the tax. They are hearing that this tax is introduced. That's already causing chaos.
So
it is not yet. This influx you are hearing, there could be few people who have used it, but they are already worried. So suppose now you effect it.
Okay. Now, this brings me to something. So if the taxes are waived, what is another alternative for government to raise this revenue that is supposed to...
This tax, there is a status quo I am trying to communicate to the viewers. There have been taxes. Government has been collecting taxes, VAT, 18% on different things. You see, now when you are going to add a tax on another tax, that is double taxation. I'm not saying that people should not pay taxes, no. But they are already paying taxes. For example, this phone has a manufacturer. If it is entering in the country, they pay tax.
The tax, yes.
Now you take it to the shop owner, and you want the shop owner also to pay another tax on the phone because they have sold it to you. They will arrest you and confiscate the phone because you don't have influx receipt. That is not fair. That is double taxation. And this country belongs to all of us. Most people, they forget that people, when they understand why they are paying tax and how they are paying the tax, then it becomes easy for them. What do you benefit from a policy that is going to be manipulated? Okay. You have seen some policies which are unfair. Someone, they say, if they catch you driving, you pay 200,000. Then they end up, government not collecting any money, they end up getting 10,000 to give it to a police officer, and they avoid the other bigger policy that is not working. So what does the government benefit? It loses. Okay. What do you lose if you put a fair taxation policy that favors almost everyone? You collect much money, much revenue than discriminatory tax where people will use other options of avoiding evading the tax and so forth. So my fellow Ugandans and the government people who are listening to us, let us be fair to our country. We all need to see Uganda developing, and we should be developing it together. But the tax should be very fair. No one can say the government what is doing is right. I have only seen some few government people who are insisting. They have not done business. But the business people, when you interact with them, the tax is becoming a burden now to them. You are taxing them, they are paying high rental costs, and even this tax you are introducing, the 18% on rent, the landlord is not going to pay that money. They will charge it on the business person, on his rent. So at the end, it goes back to the consumer. It goes back to the consumer. And secondly, we have our local products, which are not even considered in the process. I understand the president may have tried to bring in what he called import substitution.
Yes.
We want to promote the local products down. But let them target the bigger industries, the bigger business people. In fact, if you increase this tax and you insist, many businesses are going to collapse. They are going to collapse if someone has a business which is at least less than 200 million. It will not survive.
Don't survive. Very, very.
You increase that 18%, you cut the rent, you cut the costs, you find someone you cannot come out. So many businesses which are less than 200 million, they are going to collapse.
They're going to collapse.
So we request the government to scrap that, or even if they want to maintain, at least to put it at around 3%, not 18%.
So
that is too much.
Don't you think this has to be spread all through? Because when you take a look at Uganda's policy, for example, recently the Bank of Uganda increased the bank rate. So now you can get a loan at 28% interest. So what is the relevancy of scrapping off that tax, yet still the cost of doing business will relatively remain high because a huge number of those traders are still operating on loans?
Many of them, Uganda is a very blessed country. The only problem is the policies. The policies and the governance, maybe I may say. The governance has failed to understand how the country is, how much they are in governance. Because there is what we call administration. Most of these taxes, by the way, they are being misused in administration costs.
That's why the margin aspect is coming in.
Yes, they can even reduce those administrative costs to the manageable positions, such that the Ugandans are comfortable in paying even the tax. You are imposing all those taxes, and even people are not sensitized. So Ugandans are feeling that you have not sensitized them, so you are misusing the tax on different things. So we encourage that the government can reduce the administrative costs, and if they are introducing a new tax, it should be at least less than 3%, or you scrap off and maintain the status quo.
The status quo.
Yes.
Well,
yes,
very interesting. We are breaking down the matters of the traders rioting, shutting down the city. Of course, the businesses are really being put on hold. And maybe before we get into the break, I wanted to ask you something. For so long, the Uganda Revenue Authority has claimed that the taxes they are collecting are not enough. And this is before the new taxes have been put in place. And this is just one of the ways of, can I call it, widening the tax base? How do you see it in that light? Because even when these newly introduced taxes were in place, the taxes collected were not enough. So it's justifiable in a way of increasing the tax base.
Okay, Ugandans who are listening, who are watching us, do you know how much they charge you as penalty when you have failed to pay the tax? It is too much. Someone has failed already to pay the tax because he has loans, he has all those rental problems, and he has failed to pay the tax. Instead of now looking at how you can reevaluate that person, you put a lot of penalty. I have seen many businesses who have changed names, business owners hiding from Smart 24 to Smart 21 because he wants to change totally because he's trying to avoid the tax. And there is a lot of loss in avoiding the tax. So suppose you reevaluate and understand the person, and you understand why he failed to pay the tax. We have found that there are a lot of penalties when you fail to pay the tax. So the penalties, I would recommend not exceeding, you should charge a penalty not exceeding at least 2% of the tax. If when someone is demanded like billions of more than of the business he owns, so if the taxes can accumulate, so you can reduce the penalties and at least sensitize people and move with them, because any person you can get tax from any person. But now when you put over taxation, you will make those small businesses collapse. And also Ugandans should understand that the effects of COVID-19 are still, people are not yet stable. I know even the government is not stable. That's why it is trying to introduce all that. But the government of Uganda can reduce the cost of administration. We have many loopholes.
Exactly.
Much money is stolen. The rich one people collect is stolen. So you can reduce all that, those loopholes, and run the country, minus introducing this new tax. The government should be aware that introducing such taxes that can make all people close their shops, it means you are making people hate the government.
Yeah, true.
If you create that kind of understanding. I have been seeing people traveling the country, out of the country. Most of these young people, they are running out from Uganda.
Absolutely.
When you talk with someone who is running, he's not excited even speak about Uganda when you reach there. No, he's running here because he has failed to survive in such a country. So he's running away from Uganda to another country, and he's even saying if I can get Obutuze, the citizenship in another country. So, which is a bad thing. We are having a lot of brain drain. Most qualified people, let them be doctors, lawyers, they are running away. Why? Because of such unfair and justifiable taxes. So we request the government of Uganda to understand that Uganda belongs to all of us, and at least as the motto of URA, let us develop Uganda together. Let the stakeholders be involved. If the cost of administration is too high, we can reduce.
Restructure. We
can restructure, and we all survive in this country. Young people are sad. Very sad. You find, Marija, you cannot afford the cost even of getting married. I don't know whether you're married. Are you married? Find the cost. When you are working, but the cost of getting married, you cannot marry. Why? The salaries are very low. The costs of course, the taxes on your salaries are very much. They are saying they are introducing 40% of the tax, 40% on the people who are earning 10 million and above. So it means someone will be working for
about 4 million.
4 million. When you cut the NSSF, you cut the other obligations.
So 3.5.
So you find the money is all gone. So you find, what kind of work are you doing? Most Ugandans, the young professionals, you find they are damaged now. They are at home. You give him a job, he doesn't want even to work. Because even if he's going to work, he's getting a peanut, and he's working for hand to mouth. That's why I'm very sure these business people, they are going to open. I'm very sure, because of hand to mouth. They are survival.
Regardless of whether they meet.
Exactly.
Then what?
They are not opening because they are going to be happy saying maybe we are opening. No, because of survival. Hand to mouth, most of these businesses.
All right. Yes. Exactly 25 minutes past 9. We take a break. Still with Ambrose. We are breaking down what's beneath the economic shutdown in Kampala Central Business District. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.
It's not just a match. It's the crescendo of a season-long symphony.
Now approaching the final critical moments. Go for one final. Inside the final, the FA Cup final.
European final.
Europa League Champions League final game.
Stay connected to GOTV to witness. Live in all the finals on GOTV. Brace yourself for the kickoff of the UEFA Euros 20 on your world.
Smart 24, driving business. Smart 24, driving business.
Yes, we'll be back from the break. This is Smart Means Business. Exactly 29 minutes to the top of the hour, and breaking down what's beneath the economic shutdown in Kampala Central Business District. And of course, with me, I've been joined with another trader, and not actually another guest who is a trader. I have an economist and a trader. We are breaking down these matters, and he's Muhumuza. Yes, Mr. Muhumuza is a trader from Sesau. Sesau, exactly, very perfect. And Ambrose Biamugisha is from that's CEO Ambrose Soli Consultancy Limited. So we are breaking down these matters to really see what is happening. Now, to kickstart, I think let me start with Muhumuza as we talk about this, the dilemma you're in as traders, because I believe there are bills to clear that you are, it's almost approaching end of term, if I'm not mistaken, and some schools you can't sit examinations, you have to clear the full balance of that term. So how are you catching up this dilemma vis-a-vis the desire for better taxation policies? I'm trying to understand. There could be a similar trader that is out there that is facing the same. Maybe you can speak to them. How do we handle this whole situation?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, viewers and listeners. This saga, there should be a win-win situation in all this, because if you need something better, you have to sacrifice.
To sacrifice.
Yes. So some of us went through all this some time back because of the unfair tax system. So the general public has come in, the general traders have come in, because for us we went through all this and we were complaining and nothing was being done. So yes, it is needed in the first instance, because we have to get a solution out of it. We can't keep on postponing issues over time. Yes, we need the government to come in. Of course, we are feeling the pinch, but we have to go on. Okay,
now, as you're meeting the president today, what are those, because I believe the challenge is not about just IFRIS alone. There are quite so many trade injustices that are happening. What are those aspects you would feel the president should really work on? What you think as a trader, what you feel should be worked on? And now, Ambrose, I want you to tell, from the economic perspective, what do you think the traders need? There is what they want vis-a-vis what they need. But I'll start with him, then I come up with your opinion in that line. What would you wish the president to really work on as he addresses you today?
One of my issues is, of course, the biggest issue is the IFRIS system, which has, I think, initiated all most of the sagas we're going through.
Yeah.
So it needs either to be halted because it's imbalanced. It's a good system, yes, we say it's a good system, but it suffocates the micro where it belongs. Yes, it suffocates the micro because it's good to register as we are moving from micro to macro and the small and the increasing our size. We need also to be protected. Yes, you cannot destroy a nursery bed yet you want forest. You know where we're coming from.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, you have to put measures that the nursery bed will what? Will grow. You plant and you make forests. So if you suffocate the small, that means whom are you going to shield?
Okay.
Future, yes. So I feel the president should come in on issues of taxation, sit with the URA and see how best can we get. Because a tax should be free. You should pay tax willingly. Yes, someone shouldn't force you to be paying a tax. Yes, some of these systems are working, of course, in other countries, and people are okay, they are not complaining. So they should sit down and design systems to favor the different levels of business.
Business.
Yes.
Okay.
VAT registered, you have a threshold. So if you say you need sales of 150M to be qualified for VAT. But this other person is also paying VAT because he has to survive. A micro person, yes. You see?
Okay.
Yes. Because if you don't pay, you are kicked out of business. So you're forced to register for VAT, yet you don't qualify. So in the end,
okay.
yes.
You don't, oh my goodness.
Yes.
This is big. Okay, yes.
Yes, it's a big yes.
Okay.
You don't qualify to pay VAT. But if you're supplying, let's say, supermarket,
you won't be unless you are approved.
Yes.
And to be approved, you have to pay to have the VAT. Yet you're not ready for it.
Yes. Okay. And an incidence in this is like supermarkets are deducting.
Okay.
Are deducting because for them they are supposed to pay VAT. So what do? Whether you're supplying them and you don't qualify for VAT, it is deducted on your invoice, on your e-receipt. Because there is an e-receipt and an invoice.
An invoice.
Yes. So if you don't, e-invoice are those ones who qualify for VAT. Your VAT registered. But e-receipt, you don't qualify.
You don't qualify.
But they have to deduct that money out of you.
Okay.
To remain in business.
I see.
And you see how it is suffocating the whole thing, yes.
Okay.
So I would say some of those issues have to be revised. Two, we need to involve the both sectors. Don't sit there and plan for taxation things without involving all the different sectors.
The different sectors.
Yes, and levels.
Okay. And now, Mr. Ambrose, from the economic perspective, looking at the economic cycle where Uganda currently is, what do you think President Yoweri Museveni needs to address in terms of, meeting the traders away from just the IFRIS, because it's bigger than the IFRIS?
Thank you so much. President Museveni and the government, they should be aware that Ugandans, the business community, is very bitter with them. And after knowing that someone is bitter, is not happy with you, what do? We need to have harmonization. Should understand they don't just develop bitterness. No, it is out of that stress, out of that fear to survive. There was a man he was in UPDF who shot the minister. He said, I cannot even send 20,000 to my pregnant woman. These traders are very frustrated. They are very bitter with you, government. So what do? There should be a tax education. It should be very rooted in the business community. They are not refusing to pay the tax, as he has said. No, they want to understand, where is this tax? Where is it coming from? And it is discriminatory in a way that there are those small businesses. Before you came, we had already said, businesses which are below 100 million, 200 million, they are going to collapse. I said it, he was not around.
I remember, yeah.
Are you getting it? So these micro ones are at risk, and there are very many. Those are very many Ugandans who are at risk of collapsing. Why can't you maintain the status quo? Why do you introduce this new tax that is going to make everyone corrupt. There is a time I saw the president saying, why would you even tax someone who is selling gonja? And this meat on the road. That's what exactly the Ugandans, the government is doing. And yet the president is condemning it. In fact, even you wonder who is in charge. If the president is saying don't charge the gonja people and the what. There are some people who are saying very, very simple things, and they are.
So the question, who is in charge of the...
Who is in charge of the government?
in charge of the government.
So the government should do what I can advise the government. The government should basically eliminate this kind of an fair tax immediately. They should scrap it for the business community to move on. 2, they should avoid, I've already said, to manage this, you must avoid and eliminate non-productive things, administrative costs. The costs the government is putting on different administration, let's say, I normally fear to mention RDCs, what, it's too much. It can be avoided. This per diem in ministries, they can be scrapped off because we know the government also is trying to get money to run the country. But those administrative costs, they are also increasing. And the tax people, they are not sensitized. On the other side, they don't even understand why they are even paying this money. So the government should root into sensitizing the business community to understand why they are asking all that tax, and secondly, to scrap off this tax.
Okay.
In the case they want to maintain, Your Excellency, the President, if you want to maintain this kind of tax, put it at least at 2%, not 18%. For the beginning, or 3%.
There's a proposal to reduce it to 16%.
That is too much still. They will not survive. 16% from econ. That was the Ministry of Finance.
Exactly.
That one, I'm saying, to be balancing, it should be at least 3%. 16% is still high some of the business community people.
Maybe that's what the government can afford right now.
The government has nothing to lose to reduce to that level, so long as they reduce, as they are monitoring how these taxes are being implemented, how these businesses are running, then people can easily increase the tax. Okay, the percentage can increase later.
Now, Mr. Muhumuza.
But also, do you know that the government, the trust,
the trust index,
the trust of people to why they are paying the tax has reduced. The trust of these business people, they are seeing a lot of potholes in Kampala, they are seeing this, and you are forcing them to pay even a lot of tax. So there is a lack of trust even. The government should be aware that there is a lack of trust by this business community. They should sensitize people, they create that trust. Then the business community, they can move on very well. So that one is the work of URA, to sensitize the people. Government should sensitize the business community to understand why they are doing this. What is the value of me paying all that tax? After paying my tax, then you add me the rent tax. The landlord will add on the person, on the business community. So you are suffocating the person. And of course, he's not even understanding why he isn't paying. The value of paying. So the most thing the government should root into sensitizing the business community to understand why they are doing this, for what, so that we can develop this country together. Thank you so much.
Very interesting. Now, Mr. Muhumuza, if I may ask, if these taxes are waived off, as traders, would you adjust on the prices of the final commodities you sell to the consumers?
Price determination has many factors to consider, but one of them is taxing. So I'm telling you, some of the inflation has been brought about by the increases. Yes, because you have to carry on. If you're supplying something and there is a tax imposed, that means you also push it behind. And you see at a micro level, all these will affect what? Price. Price. Yes. If I'm a gonja seller and I want to put it in the supermarket, and you are putting I am supplying a supermarket.
You are taxing the
and you are taxing 18%. Then there is withholding on VAT, then withholding tax. So you are forced to register such that you remain in business. So if a tax is scrapped, that means there has to be a price reduction.
The price reduction.
Yes, if other factors are held constant.
You can do that as traders.
Because I'm telling you, if I'm selling Gonja, let's say I'm selling Mukene, I've been forced to pay 18% on that, on my sales. You know what it means? It's a lot. And on top of that, you are paying with the holding tax. You have to get someone to do all that work for you. If you are illiterate, you have to get a tax consultant or a tax assistant. You see how a system is favoring the big scale, but the small scale it cannot. For big scale businesses, let it remain. Let it remain, and or they reduce and then cater for this, because we are the backbone. We are the backbone of the economy. So if you're suffocating the low people, the low class people, who are mainly the micro, and they are involved in these petty businesses, small, you want to tax everything. That means you bring some of this inflation is fiction.
Is fiction.
It's fiction, yes.
Yeah, because I believe rarely do we have inflation in Uganda due to demand pool.
Yes, especially like food crops and
food
all
crops,
that. Yes, yes. Some of this is brought about by the system.
The system.
Exactly.
And someone has sat there and waited for it to expand. Yes, IFRIS has not come now.
Yeah.
For us who have been in IFRIS 20, it was even before COVID.
I think it was 2020.
2020,
Yeah,
yes.
2020.
Yes. So we started slowly. They were encouraging us to register. You register your company, you transition from informal to formal. That was the trick. So when you get formal, then the consequences. They didn't tell us the consequences.
It was a trap.
Yes, it was a trap. So we have mainly suffered with it up to this extent.
So can we say, since the IFRIS was put in place, it's the first time you started to encounter massive filings, tax returns, since 2020?
Yes. For most
businesses.
I'm talking with respect to micro.
To micro.
Micro.
So before 2020, everything was okay.
Yes, everything was okay. You would go and supply a supermarket. They pay you cash. There were no conflicts. They pay you cash. Maybe you can wait for a month, or if it's or a week, then you pay you cash. But now a system came where you find before you go to supply, you have to register. You have to fill in the electronic, and then I'm going to register 100 pieces of gonja in a supermarket. You see, then the tax rates, everything goes there. And then when you reach there, the supermarket, you say, no, you see, for us they charge us 18% on everything we sell. So whether you're VAT registered or not, we have to deduct it.
Yes, double taxation now comes in.
You see, you have to deduct it manually, because if you are not invoice, it's e-receipt, and it has to be deducted 18%. So I went there with every calculation of mine included in my price, but now you are removing something I didn't plan for. You see how it will suffocate my capital, and then sales are going on, but you are not earning anything. You are earning less. Yes.
Okay.
So you are kicked out of business if you are not resilient.
True.
Or you are forced also to increase pricing. But now increasing prices, that means there is someone who is VAT registered. If he or he is dealing in the same commodity at a higher level, that means he will also you are forced to be kicked out because you can't increase the price when the other one has not increased. And what are we talking about? The small scale people.
The small scale people.
Yes. Vis-a-vis
Okay.
the VAT registered people.
Okay, very interesting. Now, because time seems to be running so fast, but there is this issue about foreigners now participating in the retail. They are into your chain. Some are hawking now. So what do you have to say? I think...
Recent I met a guy hawking this chicken. Where are things? So that is also becoming another big problem.
How has that affected you? Seeing foreigners, because for them, remember, they are not paying taxes, so that means they're out-competing you from the price perspective.
Our system, to be sincere, favors foreigners.
Okay.
You look at it.
You're right, yeah.
You even live around the small scale. You even go, they are given tax exemptions. They are given even the big ones. So for you, when you're suffering here, a Chinese will come here and venture into something as an investor. Of course, there are minimum amounts, capital involved, yes. But most of them are given tax benefit, tax holidays, yet the Ugandans are not.
And even if they are not given, if when they get loans from their banks at 2%, 3%, for you getting it at 28%.
Yes.
Even I was told the Chinese, they give them money to return minus even those big interest.
0%.
Yes,
like
because
1%, something
they are
was zero.
supporting
They are supporting, they are taking back the profits.
Yes, they are taking back the profits.
The profits.
Yes. At a small scale, if we see these guys venturing into petty businesses and they are protected, then we are not safe.
You don't.
We are not safe for sure.
Before you know it, they will be in Chisenyi also.
Yes.
They are there.
Everywhere.
They're
everywhere.
I've seen them.
They're there.
But I think
And for them, the advantage they have is if they are dealing, let's say, in trade at a small scale, they are going to get from their people.
They sell, then they bring
yes,
back.
and they take back.
okay.
They have that
get
chain.
From,
Yes.
They keep the chain within themselves.
Yes, the chain within themselves. And for you can't do that.
Okay.
You have to run to the bank to get money.
To get.
And it is at an interest. You see the system. For them, they go to their fellow Chinese or Indian, they get something on what? On credit. Then they make sales and return the money. And for you, you can't.
You can't. So is that, would you feel that should also be addressed by the president?
Yes.
Because there is what, this is so interesting because, okay, taxes are waived, but remember, fuel prices are still high. And
they're even going higher.
They're going higher.
Yes.
So you find that these ones are still maintaining, because I feel even the president will have terms for some of these things to be implemented. Okay, I'm giving you this, but let these people also operate. And I don't think he's going to scrap, the taxes on fuel are going to be scrapped off. So are we seeing that kind of a dilemma now in this situation? In terms of how ready are you to take some of the terms from the president? Because for him, I think what he knows, your issue is IFRS, taxation, IFRS. Yes, it's removed, but there is a cancer penetrating within.
There is another problem there.
Another problem that is yet to rise up.
Of course, there are a series of problems.
Yeah.
As he mentioned, some of them are political, then economic, because like people are asking if we are paying this much and we are not getting the benefits. That's another side, yes.
Yeah.
You go to a hospital, there's nobody, the potholes are killing us, all that is everything is covered up. But we are also looking at the other side, the economic part of it. Of course, prices and all this is affected by demand and supply. So if the president can venture into solving this problem, but also considering other affecting problems for this, because it's not only IFRS.
Exactly.
Yes, it's not only
It's only
IFRS.
on
Yes,
IFRS.
it's not only IFRS.
Okay. So our time is so far spent. Now, in the last, I think we have about 7 minutes, but if you can use 4 minutes, try to elaborate for us from the economic perspective what the 4 days of closure mean to this country's economy. All projections, shall we feel this effect later on? It could be months. For the 4 days, trade hasn't been transparent in the central business district.
Thank you so much. This 4 business closure is a big loss to Uganda. It's a very big loss to Uganda government, a big loss to the business community, because even if the president gives them whatever they wanted to do, they have already lost. Yesterday I was watching some of the Mali, they call it Mali. Things were being destroyed by rain. because some of these people, they are working under not good conditions. The buildings are leaking. In fact, the problem is bigger than the URA and Inflix. People are Mali or Mazagaj. So you find the problem is bigger. So the government should know that this is a big loss to our country, to our people, and the government and the president should make sure, just try to negotiate, see that there is opening. In fact, we all have hopes that the president may try to listen to what he can do to open. And it would be very worse if we hear that they came when they are not satisfied with what the president said. It would be worse. So we request the government and the traders to at least reach at a reconcilable way of doing things. But the loss is there already. The loss of money, the people have been coming to buy things. Even the South Sudan and other, this Congo who have been coming, they found the trade is at a standstill. The businesses are closing. So we have already lost a lot of dollars as a government. So we request that there should be something that can at least make the business move. Because these business people, they are just in panic. They don't know what even next. What they tell them is what they go with. They are panicking. And I told you, even if the business community is not given a clear answer by the president, they are likely to open because they have to survive. They run on loans. They are paying rent. The rent is still there. And those problems we are talking about, some of them now in Maria, it is already spoiled. How about these things that are perishable? These people have been dealing with perishable products. They are all gone now. So the loss is bigger than what we thought of. So we request that that bitterness should be understood, and at least a measurable measure should be there in tax reduction. And the government, I was emphasizing the government should maintain the status quo. They should first hold on these new taxes, should first move and study the implications and so forth, what is likely to come out and so forth. This would be controlled. Even it is a shame that the business community can have meetings, can reach at that level of closing business when the government has not even intervened. I normally hear the government has money, intelligence, what are they for? The relationship for what? So the government should be able to hear such things, even they should get solutions before they come. We have this finance minister giving those measurable. They are not bad. But where were they? Why would they reach at this level of suffocating people and they cause problem? Then they are coming up with at least a recommendable. They would have done that. Everyone would be now moving. Now you wait for the people to first create that big loss. Now you come with those reduction of what? These recommendations are very good by the Minister of Finance. But where were you? When people were shutting down. Yes, you were the ones suffocating the people. Thank you very much, those who are watching us.
Holmes, are your final remarks in 2 minutes?
Yeah, I'm very thankful for the opportunity, but we hope this saga will be solved for the betterment of us. Let the government take an upper hand in negotiating, not only for this but for other problems in the future. We shouldn't let people to reach that an extent of striking. Yes, whether they are taxi people, whether they are borders, whether they are traders, we should not reach that level because there is a big loss. Yes, there is always a big loss associated with even closing. Even one day income. You know what means one day income? Yes. All right. So let's hope resolutions will be made and this whole saga will be solved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's edition of Smart Men's Business. Thanks for being a part of it. I've been Andrew Barije, and my guest this morning has been Ambrose. Yes, Ambrose from Ambrosoli Consultants Limited, and Muhumuza Rogers from Sasao, breaking down expectations as the president is set to meet the traders in regards to the closure of the Central Business District. Well, heading into the weekend, it's time to go strategize and see what didn't really go right if you've been operating. Of course, for the traders, it's not been a good week for them. But of course, as resolutions are met, go back home and think on how you're going to cover up the 4 days of loss of transactions. Well, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. We'll link up again on Monday. Good morning.
Thank you very much.